bowled out. Stepney's visit to Sir Topham Hatt's railway was coming to an end. "We shall miss you," said the Fat Controller. Then he turned his attention to all the other engines. "My railway is very busy, and I am pleased with you, but you need help. I have decided to give a diesel from the other railway a trial. Please do your best to avoid any, disturbances." "What does that mean?" whispered Stepney. "That means," sighed Duck, "that this diesel is difficult." And he was. The diesel surveyed the shed. "Not bad. I've seen worse. At least you're all, clean." The engines glared. "It's not your fault, but you're all out of date. Your controller should scrap you and get engines much more like me. A fill of oil, a touch on the starter, I'm off. No bother, no waiting. They have to fuss around you for hours before you're ready." The engines were furious, and at last they found their voices. An inspector had to come and stop the noise. The next morning, they held an indignation meeting around the turntable. "Disgraceful," mumbled Gordon. "Disgusting," said James. "Despicable," spluttered Henry. "He's to see such things to us?" burst out the Scottish twins. "It's to teach him a lesson we be wanting. But how do we do it?" "Never mind," said Duck. "We'll be sure to think of something." "We'll have to be quick then," warned Stepney. But their chance came sooner than expected. The diesel was purring comfortably in the yard. It was being warmed up well before time. An inspector watched a fitter making final adjustments. The wind tugged at the inspector's hat. The fitter replaced the air intake cover. "Right away, mate," he said. At last, the diesel was ready. "Look at me, Duck and Stepney. Now I'll show you something," he said loftily. He rolled proudly towards his coaches. Then it happened. Shaking, coughing, and spluttering, the diesel stopped. Meanwhile, the inspector was looking for his hat. "Can we help you at all?" asked Duck and Stepney sweetly as they pushed the diesel, who was seething with fury, to the back of the shed. "My hat!" exclaimed the inspector as the engines rolled past. "You've sucked it through your air intake!" "Bother your hat," said the Fat Controller. "The heavy train's due. You'll have to take it, Jock. Stepney, will you help, please?" "Oh, thank you, sir," cried Stepney. "I'd like a good long run on my last day." The Fat Controller was pleased and hurried away to make the arrangements. The engines and their crews made careful plans. "A good start's everything on a job like this," warned Stepney. So, as they backed down at the station, they dropped plenty of sand on the rails and rolled it firm with their wheels. The Fat Controller waited anxiously for them on the platform. "Never mind about being late. Good luck." "Don't worry, sir," smiled Stepney with confidence. "We'll get there and be early too." They stood waiting, sizzling with excitement, ready and eager to be off. At last, the guard blew his whistle and waved his green flag. The cavalcade dug their wheels into the sand and gave a mighty heave, moving carefully over the rails and out to the open line. "Now for a sprint!" barked Stepney in front. "I'm ready when you are," replied Duck with feeling. Soon they were whizzing through Edward Station. And next, they charged at Gordon's Hill beyond. They felt the drag of the heavy coaches here. It was hard work, but once at the top, they ran smoothly along the line towards the big station. They swept into Crovan's Gate in fine style. "Hello, you're early," said Gordon. "That's one in the headlamp for old Diesel. Have you heard the latest? James says he's sick as boiler sludge, sulking in the shed and moaning for his fitter." "Serves him right for saying we're out of date," said Stepney. The three engines laughed, and Gordon puffed away to run round the train. Next day, all the engines who could came to say goodbye to Stepney. "Come back and see us soon," whistled the engines. "And you are always welcome on my Bluebell Railway too," replied Stepney. Then he puffed away. And what about Diesel? Well, he'd slipped out when no one was looking. He said goodbye to no one, but left two things behind: a rather nasty smell and a battered bowler